Fortnite, arguably one of, if not the most popular game in the past 6 years. Most people think of it as a kid's game where you build massive structures, eliminate people, and do funny, cringy dances on their bodies. But after seeing some posts on Twitter and talking to some friends, it's come to my attention that most people, including much of the player base, don't even realize how deep the story actually goes. So, I decided to take up the challenge and explain every aspect of lore as best as I can. In writing the script, I realized there's a lot of details for the average viewer to take in, so I'll put timestamps for each section if you want to skip around to something you aren't as familiar with, or want to learn more about one portion. I'll introduce the story of this season, explain the characters and groups that are important to this season, and then go into the main story details. This video will be just about Chapter 4 Season 2 story, so it won't cover everything in the complete story, but I thought this is a simple and easier portion of the story to understand and get people's feet wet. But without further ado, this is Fortnite's Cold War. In Fortnite Chapter 4 Season 2, titled Mega, a huge Cold War took place that you wouldn't have even realized was going on unless you actively did your challenges and listened to the dialogue. For those of you who don't know, or have only heard the term in passing, a Cold War is a war that's fought not through direct military action, but through economic and political actions, propaganda, proxy wars, and espionage, which is exactly what took place in this season of Fortnite. To provide a real-life example and set the scene, the Cold War between the United States and Soviet Union lasted for almost 45 years and involved the Korean War, where the United States and Soviet Union created North and South Korea and got them to fight on their behalf while giving them support. The Vietnam War, where the same type of thing happened. The space race and arms race, where the US and Soviets competed to get ahead with weaponry and space travel to the moon, and spies in the CIA and KGB infiltrating the opposing country to gather information to help their respective sides. If this interests you and you want to learn about one of the biggest secrets of the Cold War, check out my video about Operation Northwoods on my main channel, where I'll be talking about mysteries, theories, and conspiracies. Link in the description. But now, back to the main topic of this video. To begin, this season starts off with leading members of the factions at war racing through the island as skyscrapers are crashing down from the rifts in the sky, forming Mega City. Rifts are portals through time and space, first seen in Chapter 1 Season 4 of Fortnite, and are similar to wormholes that can bring people and objects from one reality to another. As the cinematic trailer goes on, we get better looks at the faction members and our first introduction to them. Throughout the video, I'll be adding characters to this chart to help keep track of who belongs to which faction. We see Thunder, a Japanese lizard chef who can be seen in a leather jacket or a sushi chef outfit at times. He is the owner of the Gia restaurant in Mega City and the most trusted lieutenant in the Peace Syndicate. Along with Evie, Thunder will be giving us quests and voice-acted dialogue throughout the season. Later in part 2, I'll be doing more in-depth look at each faction and its members. On the bike with Thunder is Highwire, a woman with white hair, funky sunglasses, and a black bunny hood. She can also be seen with a wolf mask on at times and is the de facto leader of the Unseen. Another member of the Unseen we can see here is a man in a flaming skull helmet, not too dissimilar to the Marvel character Ghost Rider. This member we will come to learn is Renzo the Destroyer, Mega City's top doomfluencer and the right-hand man to Highwire. Other names he is known by is the Master of Misery, the Baron of Bitterness, and the Viscount of Very Bad. Quite the reputation here. The last person we see in this scene is a very regal and elegant woman dressed in traditional Japanese clothing. This is Mizuki, Empress of the River Guard. Now, for a little backstory to explain why the city is crashing in the sky, we have to go back and look at the previous season and the challenges that were done then. In Chapter 4 Season 1, we helped a character by the name of Rift Warden Stellan, who is a member of the Oathbound, construct a rift gate at the order of the Ageless Champion, and to open a sideways rift to Reality 2138, one we know nothing of yet so far. However, the rift gate's coordinates were altered by Evie, known as the secret weapon of the Peace Syndicate, and another important character to the overall Fortnite storyline, Scrap Knight Jules. They changed the rift gate to bring Evie's hometown, Mega City, to the island. More on these characters, the Oathbound, and that season in a future video. As the characters are racing through the city, narrowly avoiding the falling buildings, in the distance we can see one more character diving out of a rift. As this character appears, worry strikes on Mizuki's face. As we will learn, this is Mizuki's brother, Stray, former member of the River Guard, and now a member of their sworn enemies, the Fox Clan, a group that's been in the game since the first chapter of Fortnite. Now that we've looked at some of the members of each syndicate, let's have a deeper look at the groups and their members. Let's start by taking a look at my favorite group, the Fox Clan. I'll be introducing the members based on their appearance in the storyline. The Fox Clan is a group of hunters and trackers who have the ability to travel between different realities through rift powers they have. They also emit lightning from their bodies because of the rift powers. They can also be recognized by their kitsune masks, a kitsune being a fox spirit with supernatural powers in Japanese folklore. At some point, either during this Fortnite storyline or beforehand, all the members of the Fox Clan except one member were hunted and killed. On January 24th, 2021, Fortnite's official Twitter account was taken over with their profile picture being replaced by the Fox Clan logo, and these messages being sent out by an unknown source at the time. Establishing connection, beginning scan, possible match found. Drift, come in. Do you read me? I know you don't know who I am, but the Fox Clan is in trouble. We need you. We always thought we were the trackers, but something is tracking us down now. Something old, something bad. They got everyone. I barely escaped. I'm the only one left. Whoever gave you that Fox Clan mask made you a target. If we don't work together, team up, they'll come for you next. They're closing in. I need to wipe my tracks, but I hope you got this transmission. If you did, I'll see you soon. I hope. Connection terminated. As for now, we don't know who is hunting the Fox Clan members, but hopefully that information will come out soon. As for the members, the first member is Drift, first appearing all the way back in Chapter 1, Season 5 on July 12, 2018. He's a human who got transported through a random rift event from our home reality in California while spraying graffiti on a Durburger statue to Reality Zero, where the Fortnite story takes place. He meets Bright Bomber, Rex, and Cuddle Team Leader, all characters we've seen by this point in the story. As the season progressed, they went on a road trip together exploring the island, and Drift upgraded his wardrobe, eventually receiving a mysterious mask from an unknown source. Drift also seems to form a close relationship with Bright Bomber along the way, and as a fun note, his favorite consumable is said to be the shieldfish. Drift also has 3 known snapshots. So it's kind of occurring to me while writing the script, there's a lot of different aspects that need explaining for just people who've never really heard of the Fortnite storyline before. So in the future I might just make shorter videos explaining the different aspects of the game, but for the sake of this video, the loop is basically a time loop where the characters fight through an endless cycle and time gets reset every 22 minutes. And a snapshot is basically a clone that the character leaves behind every time they go through the loop. So if you have, say, Drift who goes through and wins the loop or loses in the loop, exact replica of him in that point in time will get put there, and then that character, that snapshot, might do something different and go on to have a different personality eventually, like as you might see in these future snapshots I'm about to talk about. These snapshots are Summer Drift, which is basically Drift in summer attire, Drift Walker, which is Drift after being converted into a vampire, and Snowdrift, which is Drift after being infused with ice attributes. They're hinted as being part of the clan, but it's unknown at this time. The second member we'll come across is Catalyst. First seen in Chapter 1, Season X, Catalyst is not a snapshot of Drift like most people believe, but actually a multiversal variant of Drift. Tagging along with her is her little pet Kitsune. Not much else is known about her besides this. We didn't hear much else about these characters until those previously mentioned tweets were made. That's when we were introduced to V, the last surviving member of the Fox Clan and the one who sent the messages to Drift in the tweets. After she was left as the final member, she recruited Drift and Catalyst, who actually weren't part of the Fox Clan up until this point. In Chapter 2, Season 7, we meet Vox Hunter, the digital avatar of the Fox Clan, who seems to have also avoided death by the previously unknown enemy. He's described as being on the island to find the truth. He doesn't have a traditional mask like the other members do, but his face somewhat resembles the logo of the Fox clan. His story is mostly unknown, but he may be similar to Margot Kest from Spider-Verse in the sense he has a digital version of himself that interacts with characters in the movie, as Vox Hunter is a digital avatar. He might also be similar to Ava or twins. From here we have no new characters or storyline for a couple chapters for the Fox clan until Chapter 4 Season 1, the precursor to this story. A rift event will occur sometimes, causing Drift, Catalyst, and V to appear. When approaching them, one will say they can't be here and need to go back, and will use their rift powers to teleport away. Later in the season, only 2 of the 3 will appear through a rift and say, "Again? No, not right now, now when they need us," before teleporting back. And then near the end of the season, only 1 of the 3 will rift in, crying or nervous, and won't teleport back this time. For this, it seems like whoever was hunting them might have been after them again, and worried about the members that don't rift in. At this point, we reach Chapter 4 Season 2 with the introduction of Stray, who I've already talked about. As for now, we have no new members, technically, except for one character introduced in Chapter 4 Season 3, Kimiko Fivetails. Kimiko is described as being an ancient fox spirit who watches over the Fox clan. It appears she might be the kitsune that the clan is designed after, or just one of the many spirits who watch over them. Now, to the River Guard. This will be an easy one since they are new to the game with this season. The only known member we have of now is Empress Mizuki. Mizuki has a very strict and cold personality but cares much for Stray. Again, Stray is her brother and is a former member. Mizuki describes the River Guard and Fox Clan to be historic rivals. We don't know much about the River Guard besides the fact that they specialize in katana swordsmanship and have water-based abilities. Other possible members are Azuki and Cloakstar, as they're seen following Mizuki in her loading screen, but it's unconfirmed as of now. The next group we should talk about is the Luminaries. We haven't talked about them previously, but they're one of the major players in this Cold War. They're a group dedicated to scientific research and technology. This is the first season we're introduced to them, so no backstory to go over. The first member we meet is the founder of the Luminaries, Mystica. Not much is known about her, but she appears to be a plant-based being with a starry and fiery face. She's an inventor, explorer, and valiant warrior, and appears to be the last remaining member of her species. The second member is Captain Hypatia, a space explorer who lost her crew and has joined the Luminaries to get help from them. The next member of the Luminaries is Trace. He's a character that got introduced in the following season, Chapter 4 Season 3, but since he's part of the Luminaries, I'll talk about him anyways. He's a traveler and explorer who conducts his research in the jungle biome. He also has psychic powers and offers to help Hypatia track down her crew. And after writing the script, now in Chapter 4 Season 4, a fourth member was introduced to the Luminaries, Verity. She is described as the vision of the Luminaries and is a field agent and scientist. The fourth group to talk about is the Unseen. They're an unpredictable group who don't care when people get hurt if it means achieving their goals. 2 members we've talked about already are Highwire and Renzo. They have a few more members though, so we'll talk about them. Dahlia is a genius biohacker, meaning she does body modifications to upgrade herself and has eyes everywhere in Mega City, always in the know of what's going on. Unlike other members of the Unseen, she prefers to work in the shadows and keep a low profile. She's also named after the Dahlia flower, commonly associated with betrayal, something to keep in mind. The fourth member is Styx, a person who loves to cause chaos, hates a lot of people, and doesn't hesitate to cause them trouble. He only listens to Dahlia, and he's named after the river Styx in Greek mythology, the river of the underworld. Another character who is seen allied with the Unseen is Triarch Nox, a very alien-looking being who used to be the peaceful ruler of his kingdom with the other 2 Triarchs, Aurora and a third unknown member. And now for the main driving force of this story, the Peace Syndicate. The Peace Syndicate is a secretive criminal organization from Mega City. They try to keep the peace at all costs and aren't afraid to get their hands dirty to achieve peace. The Peace Syndicate has been around since Chapter 3 Season 2, working with groups known as the Seven and the Resistance in a war against the Imagined Order, Fortnite's equivalent of World War II basically. I'll cover that in a later video. After that war, they helped maintain peace over the seasons, going through some difficulties until this season. The first member that was introduced of the Peace Syndicate is Evie, one we've already mentioned. She was first seen in Chapter 3 Season 3, and she's a bit of a troublemaker and was put on probation under the Watch of Thunder. who we've already mentioned. The other main member we've seen is Twin, first seen in Chapter 3, Season 4. He's a scout for the Peace Syndicate and is able to change forms using special virtual reality goggles, adopting his virtual persona, Strider. One member we've only seen through some dialogue and messages in-game is X, the leader of the Peace Syndicate. Not much is known about them, and we haven't even seen what they look like yet. A few other members associated with Peace Syndicate are Mancake, who did work with the Peace Syndicate in the past, Meowscles, who was hired as a mercenary for them, and Stashed, a former temporary getaway driver for the Syndicate, who has since joined on as a permanent driver after being recruited by Evie. So I know that was probably a little long-winded. It might be a lot to take in for newcomers to the Fortnite storyline, even for some people who might be familiar with it. But in the future, I just hope to just listen to some feedback and might change up on how I present the information, or just make separate videos in different parts for the story. One for the story and one for the characters. But yeah, I'll take any feedback you guys can give me on how easy it was to understand, what I can do to make it easier for you guys. But hopefully now that I've set the stage and introduced different groups, it'll be smooth sailing from here as I get into the main part of the story. Our story begins with you, the player character, known as the Looper, dropping down onto the island from the battle bus as usual. I'll be using them interchangeably while telling the story in case you get confused. In preparation to explore the new uncharted area of the island, you, the Looper, lands just outside of the new area in Frenzy Fields or Slappy Shores to loot up and avoid the conflict. While preparing, the Looper comes across an unusual arcade machine. A puzzle appears on the screen, and after the Looper solves it, Evie of the Peace Syndicate will start talking through the speaker. She tasks you with taking the sights in of her hometown and exploring the surrounding areas to get yourself familiar with the territory. After that, she calls you up on the radio and introduces you to her supervisor, Thunder. After introductions are made, Thunder requests to see your skills and know that you're right for the job. You grab a weapon and show your marksman skills while riding the grind rails around Mega City. Afterwards, you're given information that, as tensions are high, someone is attempting to start a war between the syndicates, sabotaging one syndicate and blaming it on another. Evie tells you that the saboteur is currently targeting the Peace Syndicate's data network, so you need to restore the connection. Upon approaching the network point, you see Triarch Nox lurking around, and after fixing the comms, he'll attempt to eliminate you. However, when searching through the database, you find files relating to Thunder's cookbook, the Peace Syndicate's agent files, and come to the realization they're files on the last reality, aka the ancient intergalactic empire that tried to destroy all reality in the past, have gone missing. This indicates that the saboteur is most likely working with them, so you're assigned to bring the syndicates together to stop the saboteur and prevent the return of the last reality. After some preparation, Evie and Thunder contact you with the first stage of their plan. The first step is to unite the Fox Clan and Riverguard. As stated previously, they are historic rivals and tensions are high due to the presence of the island of opposing siblings, Stray and Mizuki. After showing both clans tests of strength, they are impressed enough to listen to your plan. Evie and Thunder mediate the negotiations while you stand outside as backup and to stand guard. Negotiations go smooth, and both clans agree to unite in the common goal of stopping the saboteur and preventing the return of the last reality. As Evie and Thunder go on to make preparations for the next stage of uniting the syndicates, you, the Looper, maintain relations with both clans and ensure they keep the peace. A couple weeks pass, and the Peace Syndicate receives communications from the Luminaries. They inform the Syndicate that the saboteur is stealing weapon prototypes from the Peace Syndicate's lab. After hours of searching, the Looper comes across some crates located on the secluded island known as Naughty Nuts. Upon opening these crates, you find all the missing technology that was missing. The Luminaries send their thanks and ask you to use their tech to find the saboteur. You equip their sensor backpack, calibrate it, and discover that the saboteur is embedded with the clan known as the Unseen. However, upon finding this out, Thunder notes that subtle sabotage isn't common for the Unseen, so he suspects that there's something going on behind the scenes. The Luminaries and the Peace Syndicate then go on to prepare for the final stage. After a couple more weeks and final preparations are made, you tune into a conversation between Evie and Thunder discussing the betrayal of the Unseen clan. They reminisce on how all the syndicates built Mega City and how you need to stop the saboteurs before it's too late. Donning a disguise, you make your way to Highwire. informing her of the betrayal of her members. She lets you know that there are no quarrels between the Unseen and the rest of the Syndicates, and makes her way towards the betrayers to handle the matters. The betrayers being Dahlia, Styx, and Tracknox. Highwire also gives you the location of the signal jammers that were put in place, and you go and destroy them so no further communications can be made with the last reality, finally bringing peace to all the Syndicates. In celebration, Eevee and Thunder make you an honorary member of the Peace Syndicate, and Thunder even says he'll put an item on his menu named after you. The last communication received from them lets you know that they are in your debt and will be there to back you up in the future, possibly hinting towards future events in the Fortnite storyline. But with that, the main story of this season and Fortnite's Cold War come to a close. So I just want to say thank you guys, and I just appreciate if you stuck around for this long of the video. I know there's some parts that might have been more long-winded than they need to be, and some other parts I probably could have gone more into detail with. But again, this is my first big video I'm doing this, and I'm really new to YouTube, making videos in general with all that. So I'll take any criticism I can get. I hope to do other types of videos in the future, not just Fortnite, but other franchises I love, like Nintendo games and such like that. But I just hope you guys enjoy the video, and just thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want more of these types of videos. And again, leave comments down below for what I can do better. But again, just thank you guys very much, and thank you for watching.